introducing the next speaker that we're going to have today.
Hey guys!
This is Pastor Mike Bynum from Grace Fellowship Church in Rockledge. Been pastor, 35 years over the ministry? Over 30 years.
Longer than it.
Been a while. He uses Grecian formula 44, I think. But no, he's my pastor. I'm the administration and discipleship pastor there also. We should do a round of applause for him.
Thanks, Mike. It's always good to get the guys to clap before you speak, because they may not when you're done.
We will.
We'll see. Oh, man. Okay. Well, I'm just going to jump right into it here today. I'm going to talk about really keeping a check on our hearts, and not so much our physical heart, of course, but really the seat of our emotions, our personality, our mind, and really Proverbs talks about that quite a bit. We're going to jump right into it here. And Proverbs, let's see where I'm at here, Proverbs 4. But before I get into that, Kyle Idleman, I don't know if you guys read any of his stuff. He's a good communicator, good pastor and writer. He writes in one of his books, God's at War. He says, imagine if you're on a hike in the springtime and you come across this creek, or if you're from where I am, I call it a crick. I don't know if you guys call it a creek or a crick, but you're on this hike and you come across this creek, and it's really a pretty day, and you look and you say, man, look at all the garbage in this place. And you feel guilty if you just kind of walk on and just leave it alone. So you think, man, I really should do something. I got the time to do it. And so you start taking out, one bottle, a piece of trash here, a can there, whatever, and you find out that you've spent hours there. And you look and you say, man, I've just now made a dent into it. You stay a little bit longer, and you take a rest, and you realize, like, man, I'm going to be here for weeks. I mean, I'm just now making a dent into this. And so you go home, you think, okay, I'm going to come back tomorrow. I've got some time, and I'll give a little bit of time every day and get this place cleaned up. And wouldn't you know it, the next day you come back, it's really just hours later, because you're in the evening there, you're coming back in the morning the next day, and the place is even worse than when you saw it originally. And you can't believe it. You're thinking to yourself, what's the possibility of someone coming and dumping all their garbage in really just a few hours that I've been away from this place? It's horrible. And so you start to pick up the trash and you wait a minute and you say, wait, this doesn't seem right. And so you walk upstream and you realize that upstream there's a garbage dump. And really your efforts the day before just loosened up the flow of the water, and really, unfortunately, the flow of the garbage, so that made a void for the rest of the garbage to come and flow into it. So that's the problem. You're just dealing with what's downstream rather than the source of upstream. And guys, I think the Bible speaks to us on our hearts that way. Our heart is the source from which our whole life flows from. And we spend all kinds of time and money and effort in dealing with the stuff and the garbage in our life that's downstream, rather than really addressing the issue of upstream and saying, listen, this is my heart problem. What's going on in my heart? Not the guy across from me that's eating now. It's not my wife's problem or fault. It's not my manager where I work at or my coworkers. No, what's going on with me? And I'm even talking to guys that go to church all the time. I'm talking to pastors too. I mean, all of us. So let's get a good check on our hearts this summer as we head out into this new season for us. And I want to just talk to you about transforming your hearts today and understanding this, that what we'll read in Proverbs 4 in just a few verses, 23 through 27, about guarding our heart. Here's Solomon talking to his son about the issues of life, and he's talking to him about guarding his heart. So I want to have this thought as we go into it. Guarding your heart against corruption will help you to make the right choices in what you allow to influence you and how you influence others. Because here's the deal. Even though we're not teenagers, we're all into our careers, some of us are retired. Look, we are still influenced. We are absolutely influenced from people that we work with, our neighbors, our media, etc., etc. We are influenced, but guys, we also influence others. And really just to pause while we're eating our lunch here today is to think, what kind of an influence am I going to be this summer? Who do I influence? You might not think, well, not that many people. You might think not that many people, but I'll bet that you influence more people than you realize. So in Proverbs 4, we read these words. Above all else, guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. Put away perversity from your mouth. Keep corrupt talk far from your lips. Let your eyes look straight ahead. Fix your gaze directly before you. Make level paths for your feet, and take only ways that are firm. Do not swerve to the right or to the left. Keep your foot from evil. I want to talk today about protecting your heart, keeping your heart healthy. One of the first things we need to do is to protect our heart. Protect it. You know, we have a misunderstanding if we get this idea that protecting our heart is only a defensive measure. A defensive measure, protecting it against outside influence, like I said, whether it be media or just a group of people that lead you into an unhealthy lifestyle for sure. But I think we need to add to that the things that are positive in our life. That's part of guarding our heart too. Not only keeping the things out, but putting the things in that keep us healthy for sure. Spiritually speaking. So in Proverbs, we see that guarding the heart's not only, like I say, keeping the harmful things out, but putting into action what we know. And guys, again, for some of you, if you've been in the church world, quote unquote, for a long time, you may be experts at attending one Bible study after another, and this devotional or that Bible study tool on your shelf, whether it's concordance or a dictionary, whatever. And guys, I just really think that a lot of us, and I don't know most of you here intimately, but I think our knowledge far outweighs our obedience. And to say, listen, I need to put into action what I know. If there was someone here that said, look, I'm not going to learn one more thing until I put into action everything that I do know about Scripture, I think you'd have revival in your life. But, of course, we wouldn't want you to stay there of not continuing to learn. But let's go on with guarding our hearts. We guard our hearts because, as one translation puts it, for out of it are the issues of life. The issues of life are our choices that we make, the impulses that we make, the decisions that affect the way we live in this world. Guys, you make decisions all the time. You made a decision to come to lunch here today. Some of you got to go back and go back to work, and you've got to make some decisions that are going to be difficult to make. That will affect your employees or your customers, or how you spend the rest of your day, or thinking about making a purchase that's going to put you in debt. And is that wise? Is it not wise? I don't know. But we're always faced with decisions. It's important that we have our hearts in the right place as we make decisions that certainly affect others. So how we choose how we choose to live life ultimately comes from within. If the heart is pure, then our life will be pure. If it's corrupt, then our life will be corrupt. This is a big deal because, thinking about Mike, he can't do this for me. I have to do this. I'm the one that's responsible for what's going on in my heart, of where I'm really at. When no one's around me, when the lights are off, I'm laying my head on the pillow, who am I really? I mean, am I really authentic, or am I putting on a mask to influence others, or to make them think more highly of myself or not? Listen, guys, it's important. This idea of our hearts affecting us, it works like this. My wife's name is Cindy, and when we go out on the road, whatever, we go to a mall, or we're driving around somewhere in the county here, I usually spot motorcycles. Okay, I have a motorcycle. I love riding, and it's just something I really like to do and like to see. And so, either on the road or in a parking lot, I'll say, "Wow, check out that bike. That's a nice bike. It has this. It's this make, and here's what's unique about that bike, and what do I know about this or that make, and so forth." And she could care less. I barely get a out of her, right? So why is it that when I'm not even looking for motorcycles, I see them? I see them, I hear them, and I'm really interested in them, and they just call me and woo me, as I'm driving down the road or in a parking lot. And to be fair to her though, I guess I give her the same response when she starts talking about cute shoes. I just let it go in one ear and out the other. I mean, she's a shoe freak. But here's the deal. It comes down to this. It's because of what my heart is drawn to that affects the decisions that I make. I have a natural affinity towards motorcycles, so I see them and I hear them. we got to be careful, because whatever the heart loves, the ears will hear. Whatever the heart loves, the eyes will see. I think that's important to know as we think about temptations in our life. Our hearts are desperately wicked, right? We can't trust our hearts. Even on our best day, we've got to be on top of our game. And some of us are drawn to pornography. Some of us are drawn to deceit at work, cheating on the time card, affecting the way we do business. Guys, we've got to watch that. And if that's our natural draw, we've got to be careful and say, whoop, I'm not going to let my eyes and my ears draw me to that. I've got to guard my heart and feed what's good into my heart, because I have a natural affinity to that, as my example with motorcycles and so forth. So it starts with our heart. And something else we have to do is patrol our mouth. And I'm not talking about foul language, cussing, curse words, or what have you. But really, as the writer of Proverbs here in this chapter is talking about, he's urging his son to put away the perversity of his mouth, to keep corrupt talk far from his lips. It's like this: don't let the evil thoughts be crystallized into words. I mean, it's bad enough we have those thoughts, we come under conviction, God forgive me of those thoughts, I don't want to think of them. But unfortunately, sometimes we act on those thoughts. We say things that come out of our mouth. We speak and then think. I don't know if you guys have ever done that before. I've said some things like, oh man, I shouldn't have said that, or that came out wrong. I just didn't give it enough thought to really think about the weightiness of my words. But he's saying, be careful not to allow those evil thoughts to be crystallized. A guarded heart naturally leads to a reforming mouth there. Here's the deal, and Jesus talks about it in Matthew chapter 12. Whatever's in my heart will eventually come out of my mouth. Whatever's in there, it's going to come out. If someone is quick to be bitter and critical and so forth, guaranteed that's their heart. That's where they're at. If someone's more prone to be encouraging and positive words and great to see you and just being kind, man, that's where their heart's at. Jesus says this: make a tree good and its fruit will be good. Or make a tree bad and its fruit will be bad. For a tree is recognized by its fruit. You brood of vipers, how can you who are evil say anything good? For out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. Now the context of this is when Jesus healed a blind and mute man, and the Pharisees were there and they said, man, you didn't do this in your own power. They were critical of him because there were others saying, wow, this Jesus isn't just Jesus of Nazareth. Maybe he could be really from a son of David. No, the Pharisees didn't like it, so they said, no, you're doing this in the power of Satan. So Jesus says, and that's why he spoke what he did. He says, now out of your mouth it is revealing the content of your heart. There's something evil, there's something wicked, there's something twisted in there. Proverbs 13, later on, it says, he who guards his lips guards his life, but he who speaks rashly will come to worry or come to ruin. Be careful what you say, because it'll keep you out of trouble. You guys know that, right? You've been around long enough. Be careful of what you say. It'll keep you out of trouble. Speaking rashly, really quickly, thoughtlessly, brings on trouble to the one who speaks and those around him. So how we speak, guys, can either bless or curse, or create or destroy. Have the words that you say be a blessing. Be a blessing. Be creating in what you say. Not destructive. And not cursing in the sense of calling down bad things on the people. The Apostle Paul said in Colossians that our talk ought to be seasoned with salt. Salt was used back in the time of Paul's day, either as a preservative of food, a sterilizing agent, a cleansing agent of food, or really one that would be seasoning for food. And that's what Paul's using here in that type of usage. That actually, if I'm in conversation with you, and we have some form of a relationship, even if it's a casual one or a deep, intimate relationship, what I say ought to make our relationship better. By just the things that come out of my mouth when I'm with you. I walk up to you on the golf course, didn't know you were golfing, I come and I see you, and what comes out of my mouth ought to just say, man, I care for you. It's going to be healthy, things coming out of my mouth, rather than being destructive and negative and unholy. Paul says, listen, think about what comes out of your mouth. Guys, think about what comes out of your mouth when you're dealing with customers, when you're dealing with coworkers, your boss or your employees. And certainly don't forget about that when you head home, and it's easy to dump on the wife or kids, or some of you with your grandkids. Make your relationships stronger. Enhance that relationship like salt does to the meat that we eat or the vegetables that we eat. You know, we don't put so much salt that all we taste is salt, right? We put it on there to enhance the flavor that's already there. Think about it today for the rest of this week. The things that come out of my mouth, is it making my marriage stronger or weaker? Is it building my wife up or tearing her down? The words that I share with my boss, is it being extra critical or is it being helpful, being part of the solution to the problems? The relationships that I have ought to be strengthened, enhanced, better because of what comes out of my mouth. Finally, I just leave this with you guys. Didn't want to talk long, give you time to eat and share and relax a little bit. But to prepare your path. And that this is where the Father's saying to the Son, all this has to do with the way that you're going to take, how you're going to walk. This summer, we're supposed to have the Olympics. Okay? Well, I guess it's under question whether Rio is going to be ready or not. But one of the things that amazes me is the ladies on the balance beam. I don't know why, but that just freaks me out when I watch them, right? I mean, you know, when they're posing and turning, yeah, whatever. But when they start doing the flips and the somersaults with no hands and the whole thing, and they slam right down on that little 4-inch beam, I think it's 4 inches or something like that, I just cringe thinking, man, if they're off just a little bit, and they're going to crack their head open or land wrong on the floor. I mean, it's crazy. But of course, it's through hours and hours of absolute focus on that beam. It's not good enough that they just do a flip. They got to land on the beam. It's not good enough that they do some kind of a twist and a crazy formation and land with one foot or on their hands or whatever. They've got to stick it on the beam. And that comes through hours and hours and hours of hard work, of focus, of not worrying about what's to the right or what's to the left. The things that can be so distracting in life. The writer's here telling his son, listen, you've got to set your path. You've got to be focused. Consider everything I told you about your heart. Because out of your heart comes your speech. Out of it reveals where your intentions are and so forth. But prepare your path. Focus your eyes and concentrate on the narrow path. You know, it's been said that outlook determines outcome. Outlook determines outcome. You know, how do I look at things in life? What am I going to be thinking about? What's going to be important to me as I get up today or head into a new month of June, head into the summer months? You know, whatever is lying before me as I'm looking forward to this vacation or this new project at work or being involved in some kind of activity at church or some kind of a connect group or small group. You know, what am I looking forward to? I just challenge you as you head into this season, whatever it is, that you just don't mindlessly walk in and be satisfied with being there, being present, and that's good. But what am I going to contribute here to make it better? How am I going to make this Sunday better at our worship times? You might say, well, I'm not a pastor. I'm not on the platform in any way. That's fine. That's not what I'm talking about. But how will the body that you're connected to be stronger, be better by the things that you say, the way that you look at life, and how you live? I want to leave you with this, is what David says in Psalm 101, verse 3. Just the first part of it. Just a simple few words. I will not look at anything wicked. What a great, short challenge for us all. And could we say that with David as we head into the summer months or what have you, and some will be traveling or whatever, but it's, I will not look at anything wicked. I'm not going to do that. And it's not just, you know, the temptations of the eyes, guys, you know, with the pornography, etc. You go to the beach and your eyes wander and they lock in on a lady longer than it should. But just even the business practices, I'm not going to look at this, spend time with people. The other salesmen are saying, listen, we can fudge our reports and we can get ahead. We'll get that bonus one way or another. You know, I'm going to spend time and listen and look at how they're going to do that. And I can easily do it. Look, I'm not getting advancements like they are, so that's just part of the game. The boss wants me to lie to the customers because we got to make this deal, this big sale or what have you, get this contract signed. You know, just make a determination where David, he didn't say, well, unless it's too tough. He said, look, I will not look at anything wicked. And that's one way to keep us on the right path, on that 4-inch balance beam. I'm not going to be distracted. I'm going to keep my eyes on that which is righteous. I'm going to use this summer not to mentally or spiritually check out because we like to go to the beach a lot or go camping or whatever. The kids are out of school. You know, I challenge you to make this summer a time of really refreshment, of retooling, you know, re-engaging with God. It is maybe a slower time for you for some, perhaps. But don't waste it. Don't waste this time. Think about your hearts. You don't like some of your circumstances around you, guys, and just challenge you. What's the condition of my heart? You know, what am I doing to feed it, to make it stronger, to make it more formidable, or allow God to fashion my heart to care about the things, to love the things that He loves, and to care about the things that He cares about, to have my heart break on the things that break the heart of God. It's not going to just happen on the outside activity. It starts right here, guys, where no one else is looking, where no one else can see but you. So I ask you today, how's your heart? How is your heart? Down deep of what's at the seat of all of your emotions, the seat of all your decisions, the seat of what really you value and care about. Work on that. Feed that. Guys, the rest of it will come. It'll come. Don't spend time trying to clean up the stream of your life downstream. Attack it upstream at the source, the very heart of who you really are. By the way, I think you'll be more successful if you allow other guys to come in, maybe 1 or 2 guys that can keep you in check, accountability, say, hey, how are you doing? Or I see you kind of getting, getting off course here a little bit. And listen from them. Listen to what they have to say. They could really be strong instruments for God to help you along your journey. Just a few thoughts for you guys in the Word. Spend some time reading Proverbs this summer. I think it'd really be beneficial to you. God bless you. And let me just close in a word of prayer, and then I'll turn it back over. We'll go from there. God, just a few thoughts from Proverbs today about guarding our hearts and really attacking our lives upstream at the source. So God, help us to have the humility to really look at what's going on in our heart and make sure that we're feeding it the righteous things, spending time in your Word, spending time talking with you in prayer, being a part of healthy relationships, all part of feeding our heart, God. And God, if we do have some garbage in our stream, in our creek, and help us not to be comfortable with it. God, help us to do something about it, get it cleaned up, and fight against putting more trash in there. God, I don't think there's one man alive that doesn't struggle with one area or another. And so God, help us. And we know we're weak on our own, and we need your help to do it. So God, help us to be men of God. Help us to be people who bring pleasure to you. Help us to be people that would not just go through life and just be satisfied with existing. But God, that we would, from our hearts, be people who are pure, people who are making a difference in this world, making a difference in our families, where we work, just who we are. And God, it'll just come naturally. We keep our hearts straight with you. So thanks for this reminder. Thanks for this heart check this afternoon. We love you. Thanks for not giving up on us. Thank you that you promised to forgive us and to help us on our way. And we sure appreciate it. Even though we don't deserve it, we do appreciate it. Bless these men, God. Bless their businesses where they work. Bless their families, God. I don't know these men. Maybe some have spouses or children or grandchildren that are going through very serious health issues. And I don't know anything about it, but God, you do. God, some are struggling financially, perhaps. God, you know about that. I pray that they would not give in to panic or worry or fear, but God, they would trust their Father in heaven, who will help them in every step of life. God, help them not to give up on you. God, I pray for men here that might be going through struggles in their relationships with their grown children, or maybe relationships with their spouse. God, I pray that you just give them a renewed hope and confidence that you love them, that you're with them, that you're on their team, God, and that anything is possible with you. God, I pray blessing and favor upon each one here and every family member they represent. In the mighty name of Jesus, we all said.
Amen.